everyone. This is John Brewer here in the very room that I have been teaching Qigong at Wellness Within for almost 4 years. Now set up as a recording studio. So this is delightful. So I'm very delighted to be here to offer you a class of about 20 to 25 minutes on Qigong, which stands for Cultivation of Life Force Energy. And I'm utilizing methods I learned from a marvelous Qigong teacher, Roger Yonka, particularly from a book called The Healer Within. And so I'm going to be offering to you what you could do in about 10 minutes, a 10-minute routine. It'll have 5 different practices within that 10-minute routine. And you can also use that 10-minute routine as a sort of a menu that you could take any one of and create what he calls a momentary method. So you can be in charge of how and when you want to apply these Qigong practices. I do encourage you to apply them. They are tried, true, and tested over more than 5,000 years as being super beneficial for health, happiness, and deep fulfillment of life, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So, well worth giving a try. So then, the last thing I want to say before getting started is that we're going to be working with 4 modalities, I guess we could call them. One is movement, and one is self-massage, one is breathing, and one is meditation. So, and some of the time we'll do those in combination. I thought I would start by being seated here because I want you to know that all these practices can be done seated or standing. Great. All right, let's get going. So the very first practice I want to offer to you is called Spontaneous Qigong. Thousands of years old, maybe one of the more fundamental practices from Qigong. And it's also very friendly and accessible because really there is no way to make a mistake. The idea is to let your body move spontaneously. And that can be done in a very, very gentle way. You may notice I'm just sort of swaying right now. Super gentle way. I could even look still. Or we can pick up the movement to make it a little more dynamic. It can involve swaying, rotating the body, stretching the body, bending back and forward, shaking. Oftentimes it is referenced as shaking. So we can shake the body as well. You can also just turn on your favorite song and dance. Get the same benefit. Now, one thing that makes Qigong Qigong is we are integrating movement and breath. So, we're not going to coordinate our breathing in any way, but we do want nice, deep, full, flowing in-breaths and out-breaths. And if you get a little winded, just slow down, kind of catch your breath, just find the pace you want for your movement. So now we've integrated movement and breathing, and if we want, we can start to kind of tap on our bodies. Sort of just a fun form of self-massage. If we want, don't need to, but we can. Yeah, you can pat and tap and stroke. So we can add self-massage, breath, self-massage, movement. Yeah, and if our mind focus is on what we're currently doing, where thoughts from the past and the future don't intrude, we could reference this as a moving meditation. And we could add one other thing to our spontaneous Qigong, and that is sound. Sighs of relief, for example. One of the benefits of kind of being home without a lot of people around is You're not as likely to become a little embarrassed by making sounds like groans and grunts or just simple sighs. Oh, it's good for us. Creates vibrational frequency. And we're shaking loose energy that's contracted with our spontaneous Qigong. Great for relieving tension, or stress relief, and even deeper than that. This is very similar to trauma release exercises that can help us really even release some of the deep-seated woundings that we've all suffered through the course of our lives. So, spontaneous Qigong. Also consider it one-stop shopping for all four of the components I mentioned of Qigong. Very good. I'm going to sit down and catch my breath. We'll go on to our next practice. But I want to tell you that in addition to this video that you're viewing, there are other links here in the YouTube page of Wellness Within. That, for example, there's a link for Spontaneous Qigong, so you can experience my teacher, Roger Yanka, teaching it as well. And for everything else I'm doing today, there is a link. Great. So let's move to breathing. Sure, we can incorporate it with our movement, and that's awesome. We can also do it as a separate practice. So we're going to work with something that has three names, actually. And one is, it's called the essential breath. And the essential breath is just like if you've been in yoga classes where they talk about abdominal breathing. So that's really referencing fully accessing our diaphragm and our breathing apparatus. So it's a belly breath. So we're going to take a deep, long, slow breath in. And as we do that, if we're breathing an abdominal breath, it's going to force our diaphragm down, which is going to cause our bellies to extend a little bit. Once again, isn't it great, in one way at least, to be at home instead of in a class where we can let our bellies extend as far as we want. Let go of some of that. I guess some of us get embarrassed in doing these types of things. But boy, the benefit, it's just worth it. So big breath in. Let the belly extend on the same breath. Take it all the way to the top of your lungs. And breathe out. On the out breath, you can contract the tummy muscle in a little bit to force the rest of the air out on the out breath. You can think of it as stagnant air, and now we're going to breathe in again. Fresh air. Fresh qi, breathing in. Continue that in breath all the way to the top of the lungs. And then breathe out. And just force all that air out. Just creating more of a dynamic, of a pump. Fresh air in. Stale air out. Now, this is part of your 10-minute routine, but it could be a momentary method as well, so that it's referenced to as the remembering breath. So anytime you remember to take a nice big deep abdominal breath is a good time. These practices accumulate in terms of their impact. So just whenever you remember to take that big beautiful deep in breath and that long slow complete out breath, you're doing a lot to nurture yourself, nurture your parasympathetic system, again mitigating against the fight, flight, freeze parts of our brain, and opening up to the rest and digest, easeful way of living. And finally, this breath is called sigh of relief. So then, once again, let's just drop anything that gets in the way of a nice release of sound. Breathing in and breathing out with sound through the mouth. The short A is such a good sound. In terms of the vibrational impact on the heart, just great to release any form of antipathy towards oneself or others. Ah. But any sound will do. It can be a sound of elation, it can be a sound like of frustration, a groan, anything. Experiment adding sound to your essential breathing. Very good. Right. Okay, so that's number 2. We've done spontaneous Qigong and essential breath with a sigh of relief. And now we're going to do bending forward and back. It can be done seated or standing. Bending forward and back. I mentioned the word pump action, or we sometimes reference it as a chi pump. This is one of those where we are going to really activate our lymph system and our liver, our whole purification system, to release pent up or trapped or contracted or even toxic energies, just to be released from our system. This really helps with that and is terrific for spinal health as well. Remembering always to modify, so any of the movements and practices we do, you do them in a way that honors what is true for you today in terms of your body. For example, the movement of this one, we're going to palms up, draw our hands up, and then we're going to put our palms up. We're not stretching our arms all the way up, just partly, and we're going to do a slight backward bend. So modify this. If you have shoulder pain or anything like that, don't go up as high, just modify. So there's that little back bend, and then we're going to arch our back like a Halloween cat and place our knuckles together and compress there. So let's do the movement again. Up, palms facing up, arch our back backwards, backward bend, slight one, and then come forward, arch like a Halloween cat, and press our knuckles together. Now take a rest for a moment. Got 2 more things to do with bending forward and back. One of them is, the invitation is, as you do this practice over time, you start to engage more muscle groups and ligaments and tendons in the contracting. So this is complementary opposites. We are relaxing and we are efforting or contracting. So as many muscle groups as we can contract over time, even the face, of course the arms, shoulders, chests, belly, legs, and feet, but also the perineum. So just experiment with your, capacity to contract various muscle groups. And then the final thing we're going to concentrate on is coordinating our breathing. So when we come up like this, we're breathing in. And when we're coming down like this, we're breathing out. Out breath can be through the nose or mouth. It's fine to throw in a sigh of relief if you like. Okay, contract, try to contract some muscle groups here as the breath is, you're exhaling the breath. Try not to get out of breath as you come back up for that in-breath. And then final one, come down on the exhale, compress, and relax. Just notice. Take a moment to simply notice. Maybe even celebrate or give yourself some appreciation or gratitude for engaging in practices that we know can have a really positive benefit on health, happiness, and fulfillment of life. All right. So the next practice we're going to do is a whole arena of self-massage in Qigong, dating back thousands of years. In the traditional Chinese medicine system, we are aware that there are nearly 1,000, what is often referred to as energy gates nearly 1,000 over the surface of our body. In modern times, we reference those as acupuncture points. So think for a moment if you've had an acupuncture treatment or what you know about the insertion of these needles. At a particular point, they're designed to stimulate the point and the part of the body associated with that point in order to release contraction or let go of toxicity, just to release the contraction there and open up to more of a state of flow. And so we do that with our self-massage as well. Of course, that predates acupuncture by thousands of years. So we're going to work with the microsystems now. So that references the hands, the feet, and today, for our practice, the ears. So the ears, when we say microsystem, there are points all throughout the ears that energetically connect to different parts of the body. So it's called reflexology. So by working the points on the ears, just working the ears, massaging the ears, is like giving yourself a whole body massage. So that, we're influencing or treating our organs in all parts of our bodies with this sort of gentle stimulation to move energy and create flow. So, with our ears, you can do one ear at a time, once again remembering to modify so you're comfortable. So, you can start with the lobes, and you're pressing and rubbing with maybe the thumb on the outside, the index finger, or any of the fingers. My thumb's on the outer part of the lobe, and the inner part of the lobe are the fingers. So then we just kind of work our way, kind of rubbing. You could gently pull, and we're not here trying to create pain for ourselves. Be gentle, but as firm as feels good to you. Just rubbing now the outside of the ears. Taking the time, looking good. And then we can move towards the inner ear as well. A little further in. Given some special attention to the cartilage, you can feel that sort of the cartilage running in the inner ear. That is corresponding with our spine. So we can rub that. And when we're working the upper ear, we're really working on the lower part of the body. The lower ear, we're working the upper part of our body. So just keep rubbing, and then we actually go to the part of the ear that's really more connected with the side of our head and rub that too. Because the further into the ear we go, we are getting inside the body further, specifically the organ systems. And of course we avoid putting our fingers or anything else down the ear hole. I will reference you to the video clip, the link that I'm including with Roger Yonka, teaching about ear massage with great graphics that help you understand how this all works. So that's ear massage. Now, as with any of our practices, breathing practices, meditation practices, or self-massage practices, we're always invited to breathe those beautiful, deep, slow, full in-breaths and out-breaths. And it's beneficial too, if it works for you, to maintain an upright posture or a straight spine. When we were doing our breathing, now that we're doing massage, straight spine. Helps the flow of energy. Great. All right, so we're going to wind things up with flowing motion. So we've done movement, breathing, self-massage, and flowing motion is a set of movements, and it can be done in such a gentle way that it kind of leads us naturally into a meditative state. It can be done seated. I'll stand. So, flowing motion. Classic practice dating back thousands of years. We start with our feet about shoulder width apart. Knees slightly flexed. Have that erect posture, straight spine. Get into the flow of our breathing in and out. Make a commitment to ourselves as best as we can to be present for this practice. So focusing the mind. Notice now I'm just standing naturally, so my palms are facing backwards. I'll extend them back a little bit, and then I will bring my arms up, extending the palms up. Turn my palms down and extend the arms down. Back to the starting position. I'm also going to sink down as I bring my arms down, and I'm going to rise up as well as I bring my arms up. Sink down, rise up, sink down, rise up. Now, we don't have to, but why not give a try at coordinating our breathing? Breathing in, rising up, breathing out, sinking down. Feet are flat on the floor for this part. Breathe in, rising up. Breathe out, sinking down. You can breathe in and out. When you're breathing out, it can be through the nose or the mouth. Now, next time as we come up, let's shift our weight towards our tiptoes. We don't need to come up on our tiptoes, but toward the tiptoes, maybe come up a little bit, breathing in, up in the tiptoes a teeny bit, and then breathing down, or arms down, breathing out, and the weight shifts back, but we don't leave the balls of our feet. This is optional. It's great. It might entertain a little difficulty with balance, but over time it will support balance. One of the great things about Qigong and Tai Chi is so much research showing how it reduces the tendency to fall among seniors. So, breathing in and out. Let's just do 3 more without me talking. And then relax and notice for a moment the energy inside of you and all around you. Well, I hope you found those enjoyable. And now you have the YouTube video, should you want to revisit it, to practice with me, in virtual space at least. So that's there for you. And then the links that I mentioned, they're brief. Most of them are just 3 minutes or 4 minutes. Flowing motion, for example, is just 3 minutes. And one of the benefits of viewing the videos from the video links, it's going to give you a bit more information on the benefits. Sure, the methodology as well. But it's good to know, hey, if I do this, incorporate this into a regular practice, or even an occasional practice, I'm doing myself a world of good. So you have a set of practices that you could look at as a 10-minute routine. You can shorten that routine or lengthen it by increasing the number of repetitions of any of the exercises, or slowing them down, or speeding them up. Your choice. Also, you have a recipe, I guess, or a menu that you can pluck any one of these practices and do separately as a momentary measure. So I wish you well. You hear my Timer going off, I see. So I wish you well, really. Health, happiness, fulfillment of life, all good things. Thanks so much for viewing this video. Going to do another 10-minute routine next month, so I hope to connect with you again that way. Bye for now.